I love Disney films. I grew up watching them and I still watch them regularly. They bring a lot of joy and beauty into my life and they have incredibly heartwarming stories. My favorite Disney film is The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I would like to do a future video on why I love that film so much. But this video is going to focus specifically on how Disney films portray women and the strength of femininity. My name is Aruna Matcha, and you're watching The Rational Female. If you enjoy my content, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. When we think of strong women nowadays, we often think of women who embody classically masculine traits like physical strength, dominance, and brashness. A lot of modern female characters, like Katniss Everdeen, portray these traits and are dubbed strong women. This reflects a broader cultural shift where traditional femininity, like warmth, gentleness, maternal care, and sweetness, are undervalued. Ironically, that approach ends up dismissing many of the qualities that have long defined feminine strength. To be part of a space that uplifts and supports women without supporting feminism, visit the subreddit Women's Advocates. We support women, not misandry. I think that Disney films represent strong women in their own right who embody positive femininity. Let's start with Esmeralda, my favorite female character in the Disney universe. I think she is one of the most underrated female Disney characters. Esmeralda is warm, gentle, and kind, but also feisty and assertive. She has a strong moral compass and a deep desire to do the right thing. One moment that always stands out to me is the first time she meets Quasimodo. At the Feast of Fools, when he accidentally pulls down her dressing room curtain, she doesn't get angry. For a brief second, she's shocked, but then she asks, "Are you alright?" Her immediate instinct is concern for his well-being. I love this, and it's a consistent part of her character throughout the film. She's also the only person at the Feast of Fools who helps Quasimodo after he's humiliated by the crowd. She stands up to Judge Claude Frollo, an evil man in a position of power. Part of why Frollo wants Esmeralda dead is because she is brave enough to challenge him and call out his cruelty. There's also the fact that he lusts after her and can't reconcile that with his religious fanaticism. Esmeralda also saves Captain Phoebus twice, once when he's about to be executed after rescuing the Miller's family, and again when he's shot with arrows and falls into the river. I have no idea how she's physically strong enough to drag a grown man out of water, but there you go. There are actually several examples of women rescuing men in Disney films. Ariel rescues Prince Eric, Megara jumps in front of a falling pillar to save Hercules, and Pocahontas saves John Smith. Yet people, usually feminists, often claim that Disney films are about women waiting to be rescued by men. I strongly disagree. Many of these films are really about women finding inner strength and learning life lessons. Romance is part of the story, but it's rarely the whole story. At the end of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Esmeralda is not rescued by a prince. She's rescued by Quasimodo, who isn't even her romantic partner, and he gets a wonderful hero arc. The film realistically pairs Esmeralda with Captain Phoebus. Quasimodo isn't emotionally ready for that kind of relationship, whereas Phoebus is a far more compatible partner for her. It's a beautiful ending for all three characters. As mentioned earlier, Ariel rescues Prince Eric from drowning. A lot of feminists say that The Little Mermaid is about a woman giving up her voice for a man, but her story is really about leaving home, pursuing her dreams, and discovering love along the way. Louise O'Neill's novel The Surface Breaks is a feminist retelling of the original Hans Christian Andersen story. I do enjoy her book, but I prefer the Disney version. Ariel doesn't just give up her voice for a man, as feminists claim. Her I Want song is about her fascination with the human world and her desire to live on land. Eric simply gives her the push to finally pursue that dream. Ursula manipulates Ariel, and in the end, Ariel's father steps in and grants her the freedom to live on land and be with the man she loves. It's a story about romance, but also family and friendship. Ariel is supported by Sebastian, Flounder, Scuttle, and of course her dad, King Triton. So the story isn't just about her and Eric. Plus, Eric is a good guy. He's kind, brave, and loves his dog. Can't go wrong with that. I will probably make a separate video about the positive male characters in Disney films, which brings me to Hercules, or more specifically, Meg. Megara falls in love with Hercules because he is brave, strong, and genuinely kind. She's witty, sarcastic, and skeptical, but she has a good heart. Once she realizes what kind of man Hercules is, she wants to do right by him. In the climax of the film, Meg literally jumps in front of a collapsing pillar to save Hercules' life. He then risks everything to save her from Hades. It's a genuinely beautiful story. Also, can we give the muses credit? They are awesome. Pocahontas is another woman who rescues the man she loves. She literally saves John Smith's life by preventing his execution. Her empathy and desire for peace between the Native Americans and the settlers allows a conflict to end without bloodshed. I love both Pocahontas films. A lot of people dislike the second one, but I watched it so much as a child, so I've always had a soft spot for it. The story carries strong themes about understanding different cultures and seeing past superficial differences. Yet, ironically, it's labeled problematic today by the alt-left instead of being appreciated for its message about empathy and reconciliation. Belle is probably the Disney heroine that I relate to the most, also along with Ariel, I'd say. She's smart, somewhat of an outsider, and she loves reading. Her story is also about sacrifice and family. She chooses to take her father's place as the Beast's prisoner. Interestingly, the person who actually rescues Belle when Gaston locks her and her dad in the cellar is Chip. Belle ultimately breaks the Beast's curse because she learns to see the goodness in him. At the same time, she doesn't tolerate bad behavior, which is why she rejects Gaston. She's very kind, but she isn't a pushover. She tells the Beast to control his temper and stands up to him when he behaves badly. This shapes him into a better man and shows how she brings out the best in him. Sometimes other people can help us realize our positive qualities that may have been hidden. Mulan saves all of China, yet at the end of the story, she returns home to her family. Like Belle, she's motivated by love for her father. Her intelligence and compassion are what allow her to succeed. She isn't cold or domineering. She's gentle and sincere, but also brave when necessary. This earns her the respect of the men around her, including Shang. That balance of softness combined with strength is something that many of these Disney heroines share. None of them are condescending or catty like many women in modern films and television. I wish we could bring back kindness as a genuine feminine strength. It's so undervalued now. Which brings me to Cinderella, who is often framed as weak, and her story is usually mocked as a woman waiting to be rescued by a prince. But that is not accurate. Cinderella's real strength, along with her kindness, is her resilience. She's mistreated for years by her stepmother and stepsisters, yet she maintains hope and goodness. Anyone who has ever experienced abusive relationships, be they with family, friends, or romantic partners, knows how difficult it can be to escape those situations. People often say, just leave, but it's rarely that simple. Many people in those situations don't even realize they are being abused. Cinderella endures years of mistreatment without losing her sense of dignity and optimism. That's a very real kind of strength. In the end, she is helped primarily by the fairy godmother and her animal friends. Gus and Jacques are the real heroes. The prince is actually Belle in the story. Now, of course, it is a bit daft, the idea of two people falling in love at first sight, but this is a popular trope in romance stories. Romance is largely read by women, reflecting innate female desires. A lot of romance stories are wildly unrealistic, but people don't read them for realism, they read them for escapism. Also, this movie came out in 1950, so let's cut it some slack. It's still a beautiful film, and I would honestly class it as one of my favorite Disney movies. Sleeping Beauty is another film that often gets dismissed, but it's incredibly pro-female. The three fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, are the real heroes of the story, like the mice in Cinderella. They rescue Aurora as a baby, raise her in secret, and later helped Prince Philip defeat Maleficent and reach Aurora. They embody maternal care, cooperation, intelligence, and loyalty. Without them, Aurora would have died and there would be no happy ending. Jasmine is one of the few princesses who actually is directly rescued by a man, but even that rescue wouldn't have happened without the genie. Jasmine herself is smart and assertive. She refuses to marry someone simply because of wealth or status, and instead she wants genuine connection. That's a big deal for a royal figure. As a child, Jasmine was actually my favorite Disney princess before Esmeralda became my favorite later on. I know Esmeralda's not already a princess, but I think she should be. Tiana comes from a loving family and dreams of owning her own restaurant. Her story shows that she can achieve her ambitions while also finding love. Many women can absolutely find fulfillment through pursuing a career. I made a video talking about how feminism has pushed women into the workplace, but I don't undermine women who genuinely want to have a big career in life at all. The point is that for most women, having a life partner is still an important part of happiness. That is why these films all highlight romance. They reflect deeper human desires. Tiana, Mulan, Pocahontas, Ariel, Belle, Cinderella, and Jasmine all have positive relationships with their fathers, which I can also relate to. That kind of relationship can give women a healthier perspective on men and relationships. This is another reason why I love Disney films. There's a lot of emphasis on the importance of family, and I love that these films highlight strong father-daughter relationships because I've always had a very good relationship with both my mom and my dad. Rapunzel's story, unfortunately, is not about having a positive parent. It's about standing up to an abusive parent. Rapunzel embodies many classic Disney traits: kindness, warmth, empathy, and idealism, but she's also resourceful and brave. She eventually confronts Mother Gothel and frees herself from that abusive relationship. Her relationship with Flynn Rider is also well developed. He respects her because she's courageous and capable. Anna's story focuses heavily on love between siblings. She risks everything to save her sister Elsa, showing that family love can be just as powerful as romantic love. I do wish we saw more of that in films. At the same time, her relationship with Kristoff develops into a healthy partnership. Frozen was massively overhyped, but there are other Disney films like Mulan and The Hunchback of Notre Dame that also don't have romance as their focal point. I would argue that they are actually better films than Frozen. Frozen is a good movie, but it's a bit light and quite playful compared to some of Disney's edgier movies. Still, it's an enjoyable film. Finally, Moana is another incredible Disney female character. This is the only film I have actually listed here that doesn't include a romantic storyline, and I absolutely love this movie. Moana is adventurous like Ariel and Pocahontas, but her defining trait is compassion. In the end, it's her compassion that restores Te Fiti's heart. This is one of those films that always lifts my mood, and I appreciate that the story focuses on purpose and courage rather than romance. The friendship between Moana and Maui is very well fleshed out, and it makes for a very refreshing Disney film. I want to end by mentioning a few Disney animal characters who embody maternal strength: Carla, Maid Marian, Duchess, and Sarabi. These characters display warmth, care, loyalty, and emotional wisdom. Motherhood and nurturing qualities are often undervalued by feminism, but Disney frequently portrays these qualities as powerful and admirable. Personally, my mom is such an important person in my life, and I think that motherhood is one of the most important things that a person can do, provided they do it well. Motherhood and nurturing qualities are often undervalued by feminism, but Disney frequently portrays these qualities as powerful and admirable. And honestly, I don't see why a woman has to be bossy, aggressive, or cold to be considered strong. Sometimes strength looks like kindness, compassion, and quiet resilience. These are qualities worth celebrating.